The High Court has thrown out a reduced sentence handed to a 17-year-old jailed for the murder of Brisbane woman Emma Lovell. The mother of two died after she and her husband Lee were stabbed during a burglary at their home on Boxing Day in 2022.
It's really hard to forget the devastating and brutal murder of Emma Lovell. She was stabbed on the front lawn of her home when she and her husband were attacked by burglars on Boxing Day in 2022. The killer, he pleaded guilty to 4 charges, including murder, and was originally sentenced to 14 years in prison. The original judge, the sentencing judge at the time, Justice Tom Sullivan, described the offending as particularly heinous. But lawyers for the boy applied to the Court of Appeal for that sentence to be reduced. Laws at the time in Queensland allowed child offenders to serve 70% of their sentence or less if they were found to have special circumstances applying to them. And the Court of Appeal found that that did apply in this case. The boy was a child, he had pleaded guilty and had come from disadvantaged circumstances. And they reduced that sentence to around 8.5 years, or to 60% or so. But today the High Court has overturned that revised sentence, and they've thrown that out, finding that the Court of Appeal should not have intervened and should have displayed some sort of judicial restraint. So that revised sentence by the Court of Appeal of around 8.5 years or so will be thrown out, and presumably the 14-year sentence of the original judge will be reinstated. And of course this is likely to spark political discussions in Queensland, where youth justice and youth crime have long been a focus of politics in the state. But it doesn't change much for the family of Emma Lovell, who have been without their wife and their mother for 4 years nearly. We spoke to Lee Lovell, the husband of Emma Lovell, who was of course involved in the attack on Boxing Day in 2022, spoke to reporters in Brisbane today.
You know, I don't believe that 14 years was ever enough to start with, but I suppose I had to accept that. So to now get, at least the 70% reinstalled is some validation that, Emma's life did matter. So yeah, I still never understand why it's like it's a given thing to get 70% and not you have to earn that, if that makes sense, So, but I suppose now I just have to sort of make peace with that decision and sort of try and move on a bit, really. So yeah.
Lee Lovell was in Canberra during hearings earlier in the year facing the High Court, and said that this case was important for justice for Emma.